ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਅਗਲੇ ਹਿੱਸੇ 'ਚ ਕੁਝ ਮਿੰਟਾਂ ਲਈ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਿੰਡੀ ਮਕਲਾਉਡ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ। ਇਹ ਗਲੋਬਲ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ CEO ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਰੀਸੈਂਟਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵਿਦਿਆਰਥੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੈਪ ਲਾਈ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਤੇ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਡਿਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟ ਵੱਲੋਂ, ਉਸ ਕੈਪ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਅਸਰ ਪੈ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਵਿਸ਼ਵ ਵਿਦਿਆਲਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ। ਪੋਸਟ ਗ੍ਰੈਜੂਏਟ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਫੀਸਾਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਸਨ ਔਰ ਵਿਸ਼ਵ ਵਿਦਿਆਲੇ ਇਸ 'ਤੇ ਨਿਰਭਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਹੁਣ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਅਸਰ ਪੈਣਾ ਤੇ ਇਵੈਂਚੁਅਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਵੀ ਕੀ ਇਹ ਅਸਰ ਪਵੇਗਾ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਦੀ ਆਰਥਿਕ ਹਾਲਤ ਠੀਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਹਿਣੀ ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਕਟੌਤੀਆਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀਆਂ ਹਨ, ਇਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ 'ਚ ਸਿੰਡੀ ਮਕਲਾਉਡ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਨਗੇ। ਹਾਈ ਸਿੰਡੀ, ਗੁੱਡ ਮਾਰਨਿੰਗ। Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. First of all, tell us your reaction to the capping of the students.
Okay, thank you very much. And first of all, happy Diwali to everyone. The recent cap and the continuous changes in the federal policies has been extremely difficult for the entire Canadian education sector. It's left us with a lot of uncertainty. I think that we can all say that the Canadian brand has been damaged across the globe significantly, unfortunately. We've worked very hard in Canada to build a reputation of outstanding education. We're known for our quality, we're known for our outcomes, and unfortunately, the messaging going back to India, to the rest of the world has significantly hurt us. We're seeing a decline of applications and deposits from around 45 to 60% across the board. That is both with public and private institutions. And unfortunately, I think the measures were very blunt as they've been described. I believe as in the education sector, we understood and we understand that we needed some change, but perhaps we could have done it in a different way. Canada has been, for many, many years now, a #1 study destination for students from around the world. And at this point, we're sitting around #5 or #6 in the world. And this will take us a long time to actually rebuild the reputation.
A lot of people are saying that financial stability of the universities were depending upon the foreign student fees. That was a very big amount, usually charging from the foreign students. So do you think that some of the universities or colleges will go on the verge of bankruptcy as a result of this capping?
So I can't comment on that, but what I will say, for more than 20 years, Canadian institutions, colleges and universities, public and private, have been dependent on international tuition fees. I think it's always some misunderstanding that an international student takes a seat of a domestic student. In fact, international students and their tuition have actually opened up more classroom spaces for domestic students, and they have been able to manage with international tuition to keep domestic fees reasonable in Canada. So one of the things I believe you're going to see now is that tuition fees for Canadian students will need to be increased. Government will not have the resources and the funds to close the gap of what international students were bringing to colleges and universities. Not only tuition-wise, but I think we will suffer in the next coming years around the gap of skilled talent and students that have been culturally prepared and have been committed to building a life and contributing to our economy in Canada.
Is there any kind of help given by the federal government? Are you getting some kind of funding from the federal government?
Well, we're a private institution, so global university systems. So we have University Canada West and we have University of Niagara Falls, Canada, as well as a number of colleges from Trevis and Montreal, Toronto, the Toronto School of Management, Canadian College of Technology and Business, the Language Gallery. So we receive no federal funding and no provincial funding.
But the UBC and SFU, Princeton, McGill, all the University of Toronto, they get funding from the federal government?
No, they get funding from their provincial government. They may have some research funds that come from federal funds, but in Canada, the universities and colleges are mandated and supported provincially.
Is it correct that before Stephen Harper's government, all these universities used to get a federal funding?
I don't believe so. I've been in education for 30 years, both at the public and private level. I've been in the public college and public university system, and it has always been provincial funding.
So what do you think? It must be clear to you now that this lack of funding or lack of revenue, how would it impact the sustainability of the universities?
Well, I think that all universities and colleges, again, public and private, will be looking at their capacity to keep delivering programs at the levels that they've been delivering at. And I'm sure that we will see a downturn in universities and colleges. There's going to be an impact. There's less students coming to Canada, significantly less students, and so that will have a downstream impact on jobs, on available spaces. It will have an impact on domestic tuition. So yes, of course, we're going to see some impacts.
Cyndi, what alternative do you suggest to this capping of international students?
Well, I'm hoping that business, industry, I'm hoping that alumni, we've had a lot of amazing students from around the world go through the Canadian system. They've been incredibly successful. They've built lives and businesses in Canada. I guess I would like to see business and industry alumni talk about the value of international students and the importance to the growth of our economy. We will need to have skilled people. We know that we don't have enough Canadians to do the kinds of jobs that we need in the future. Again, medical is one area. We need health workers at all levels, from personal support workers to nurses to doctors. And so I believe that the business community, the industry, the associations like Chamber of Commerce's, BIAs, need to get behind the universities and the colleges, and they need to help us build the story that international students are valuable and they contribute in an extremely meaningful way. I think there's a lot of confusion in Canada about international students versus refugees and asylum seekers. So I think some of that message needs to be dispelled. Unfortunately, they're getting lumped together, and they're different. They're two different kinds of new immigrants coming into Canada. So I think there needs to be distinguishing factors there.
This morning, while I was preparing, I was reading a report that when these students used to come here, 86% of them took local jobs. What impact do you think it'll have on the local market, labor market?
Well, I'm already hearing from different employers that they're already starting to struggle to have, because students all take part-time jobs as well. And, they're working in grocery stores, they're working in London drugs, they're working in restaurants, they're doing many different things. They're, working in the IT sector part-time while they're going to school. So we're already hearing from employers that they're struggling to get enough part-time workers. I believe that we're already seeing Canada's GDP drop. We're seeing our productivity at one of the lowest levels. And this is just going to be exemplified as we go through the changes that the federal government is employing to all of us in Canada. We're only seeing the beginning right now. We're seeing the first wave of lower enrollments across the country. By January into the following year, it is going to hit us severely. And, banks, insurance companies, Air Canada, restaurants, people that have rental suites in their homes, it's all going to start to impact, even to commercial real estate, because colleges and universities take a lot of real estate in the cities where they're teaching classes. So it's going to have an incredible downward impact. International education is a $37 billion business in Canada. And when you start to take that down to, less than half, it's going to be very, very serious for us.
But Cyndi, before the flood of these foreign students, Canada was managing fine. We had our system working okay. Why suddenly that much of a dependency the way you are painting this picture? We were fine without the foreign students before.
No, we've always had international students. Again, I started working in international education back in the mid 90s, and we were bringing international students from all over the world. I will say,
but the number was limited.
Yes, but I will agree. We did get too big too fast in the last couple of years. I would agree with that. So, government should have worked with the provinces the federal government should have worked with the provinces a number of years ago when they saw it increasing to build a plan that could slow things down in a more even way and not put every university and college in the situation that they are today with such a blunt instrument, as Minister Miller has referred to it, because for us to pivot and try to react, it's very, very difficult.
So as a CEO of the Global University System Canada, what is your message to the federal government about this gap?
Well, I would like to give a message to students, first of all, and to families. So in Canada, we still value international students. We're still an excellent study destination. We care. We want to welcome students to Canada. We want the best and the brightest. And it is still a very safe and welcoming environment. To the federal government, I just ask that they continue to work with universities and colleges, publics and privates, because sometimes privates are not always included. There's a lot of excellent private institutions across Canada. So for the federal government, please work with us to sustain the international education sector that we all have worked hard to build. Yes, we need changes and we need modifications. Please keep talking to us. Let's work together to create a solution that will not completely destroy the Canadian international education sector. And I think that's my most important message. Our brand around the world is really suffering at this stage. And I think we've heard everybody say we still need and want international students. Diversity is important. For the federal government and provincial government, help universities and colleges align with labor market needs, because we want to be creating graduates that have a real opportunity to succeed in Canada.
Thank you.
Thank
Cyndi
you so
McLeod,
much.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cyndi McLeod, Global University System ਦੇ ਚੀਫ ਐਗਜ਼ੈਕਟਿਵ ਅਫਸਰ ਸਨ। ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਹੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਵੇਟ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀਜ਼ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਨਿਰਭਰ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ ਸਨ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਫੀਸਾਂ 3 ਗੁਣਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਸੀ। ਹੁਣ ਉਹ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਡਾ ਕੰਮ ਚਲਾਉਣਾ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਿਲ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਫੰਡਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰੈਵਨਿਊਜ਼ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਘੱਟ ਜਾਣੇ ਨੇ। ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹ 150% ਜਾਂ 200% ਵਾਧਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਹੋਇਆ ਵਿਦਿਆਰਥੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਉਦੋਂ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀਜ਼ ਠੀਕ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਸੀ। ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਸਟੈਂਡਰਡ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਸਟੈਂਡਰਡ ਵਧੀਆ ਸੀ। ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਵੀ ਦੱਸੀ ਸੀ, ਪਰ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ, ਪਰ ਜਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ 86% ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਨ ਉਹ ਨੌਕਰੀਆਂ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਪਾਰਟ ਟਾਈਮ। ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਲੇਬਰ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਵਰਕਰ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸਨ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਹੁਣ ਤੋਟ ਰਹੇਗੀ। ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀਜ਼ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਹੱਥ ਪੈਰ ਮਾਰ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੀਆਂ ਕਿ ਲੁਮਨਾਈ ਜਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਾਰਪੋਰੇਟਸ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਪੈਸੇ ਦੇਣ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਵਿਦਿਆਰਥੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਡੋਮੈਸਟਿਕ ਵਿਦਿਆਰਥੀ ਉਹ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਰਹਿ ਸਕਣ। ਇਸ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀ ਅਪੀਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ।